Hi, I'm Grateful Ted. Thanks for being here because I really truly appreciate you investing your time in watching my videos. Longtime viewers may see that I'm in a different environment right now, and that's true. As a matter of fact, I updated my car. It's not brand new. I got a used car, but it's 7 years newer than the one you're used to seeing me in. Still have that one temporarily. As soon as my seasonal part-time work is over in about 2 weeks, I'm gonna drive that down to my son Toby in the Bay Area, so he can use it. This one's a lot different, even though it's only 7 years newer. There was a lot happening in those 7 years. And a lot of it has to do with the electronics. So we'll check that out. I'm going to show you the whole thing inside and out and let you know a lot of the differences and a lot of what I'm trying to adjust to. Sometimes this feels like it's totally AI involved. We'll go through that. Stick around. One thing I have noticed is that it feels wider and longer, especially on the inside. The inside feels a lot wider than the other one did. One thing I can say is that this rides a lot smoother, and the mileage that we're getting is somewhat better. And I don't know if most of you know this or not, but the gasoline prices in the Pacific Northwest, well, actually the Pacific Northwest doesn't really have a lot of refineries. I think there's one up in the Seattle area servicing the whole Pacific Northwest. And as a result, there are some price hike. The cost for gasoline that I buy right now is a little over $4 a gallon. And it spiked by about 40 cents here this week. When it was less, it was actually about $3.79 a gallon, I think it was. Anyway, so it's good to have a car that does a little better on the gas. So let me show you what it looks like on the outside. It looks different from the old one. The color's different. It's a little bit of an upgrade. So when you see me from now on, if I'm not in Yoda, then you'll see me in this rig. And that's what it looks like on the outside. So one of the things that it doesn't have, that the newest cars have, is where you can just stick your foot under there and your tailgate opens. That doesn't happen here, but you can open it this way, I think. Hang on. There it goes, and it opens by itself. And then it does have a button up here, and you press that and it closes. So that's good. And another interesting thing back here is the switches right there on both sides. If you need to use more than just this amount, you just pull this and the seats go down. So that's cool. But you know, some of the stuff that all of these electronics, it's like the AI is running the whole car and not me anymore. I guess I understand better what people who have electric cars, how their car environment is. But one of the things that's really strange is I've just finished watching the television series Pluribus on Apple TV. And if you're familiar with that series, for me it feels like the we as us people are running this car. And it's something I have to get used to. I'm fairly confident that younger drivers, millennials, Gen Y, Gen Z, Gen whatever, probably have much less trouble adapting. But, you know, I've been driving for 60 years, and my first two cars, my first one was a 1948 Kaiser, Studebaker Kaiser, or Kaiser Studebaker, but it was a Kaiser made by Studebaker. And my second one was a 1947 Plymouth, both of which were shift. They were manual shift cars. So I like having an automatic, and this certainly is an automatic, but the electronics is something for me to adjust to, although with trying not to sound too egotistical, I do believe that I'm more electronically astute than most people in their mid-70s. But I will have to get used to the electronics. So I went from this to this. So I do have to get used to not having the rotary mileage indicator and just have a digital how many miles I'm traveling in that, where that big O is there. And from this to this. Every time I want to turn the car off, I keep reaching for the key to turn it off, but all I have to do is just press that and it's off. Now the other CR-V did have a screen, but it was really small and it was recessed way back in there. It was about, the screen itself was about the size of a cell phone. As you can see, this is a whole lot bigger, and I've got CarPlay. I didn't have CarPlay in the other one, it was too old. But with this one, we've got CarPlay, and I can take maps and just hit maps, and then it's a much bigger screen. And then if I want to play music, I can. If I get a phone call, it comes in and goes over. These are all things that someone who hasn't had this for the last 60 years of driving needs to get used to. Some of it I just love. And since I do have CarPlay, I no longer need to have my phone up here on the windshield where I can see it because it's all down here. But I just am used to it there, and I feel uncomfortable when it's not there yet. Something I really have to get used to is not having a key anymore. Um, and that presents its own set of stuff. For instance, every time I come out of the house, knowing I'm going to the car, I got to reach into my pocket for my keys. Only I don't have to anymore because the car locks once I get out of it with the fob, and when I get within 2 feet of it, the car again, it unlocks so I can get in. Another thing that I found interesting about the fob is, I don't know if you can see it, but there is this little button right there. I hope you can see it. And when I turn it this way, when I push it one way, let me get my fingers in here, this comes out, and there actually is a key that's stored in the fob. Also, if the battery in the fob runs out, you use this to, you put a small little screwdriver in there, you twist that, this pops open, and you can put a new battery in. So if the battery goes out, you can still get in your car because you can just pull the key out and insert it in the lock outside the car. I don't know if you can start the car if the battery is dead. We'll have to wait and see. And of course, another thing is I keep reaching for my keys. When I come out of the grocery store, my hands are full, and all I have to do is basically just let the fob do all the work. There are, of course, some really nice safety features that this car has that the other car did not. For instance, it's got an alarm if you go outside your lane. I think it has an alarm if another car gets too close. One of the things that I found very interesting was that when you have the speed set at a certain mile per hour on the highway and another car cuts in front of you and it gets too close or whatever, the car automatically slows down and tries to leave a space that is safe for both you and that car in front of you. You're supposed to leave one car length for every 10 miles an hour that you're going. Most people don't do that at all. I try to, which makes some people unhappy, but I do. I try to do that, and so the car slows down as that happens, where you get closer or another car cuts in front of you. Overall, I really like this car. It's smoother, it's quieter, and the electronics make it pretty interesting for sure. I'm not sure how I feel about the lighter upholstery. Under ordinary circumstances, it wouldn't bother me, but I've got a dog, and you dog owners and lovers know that dogs like to get into the dirt and then they get in the car. That does affect things inside. Also, I haven't had a car payment in over 10 years, and I've got a car payment now. And you know what that means? That means that you guys have to be sure to hit the like button and comment down below so this video gets sent out to more people. That way, that'll help me financially and won't cost you a thing. If you made it this far, give yourself a pat on the back because you deserve it. What'd you think of this new upgrade? I'll be using it a whole lot. You'll see it a whole lot. But again, what I really need is for more people to see the channel. So if you liked it, give it a thumbs up. What do you think about the upgrades? Are you dealing with that in your car at all? Comment down below if that's the case, okay? I could always use subscribers, so you might consider subscribing. And next week, we've got something completely different. And we will see you next week.